yesterday.
Yeah. He's Steve, I'm Skip, and I want to say, and thank.
Hard to tell on the radio.
Absolutely. Have a headset for a second.
I'm Susan Olsen. I'm a fellow Texan. Welcome. They got beans in the chili, though.
Well, Senator, I want to say thank you very much for coming over to talk with us at Granite Rock, and we enjoyed our constitutional talk yesterday, conversation. The other question I would have is, we talked about a number of the amendments yesterday. What were some of the things that we didn't touch upon that you think are important that we might have missed yesterday?
Well,
as far as governance is concerned, based on which wrong track we're going on.
I think yesterday we had a terrific conversation, Skip. I appreciate having the conversation now in person, but I'll tell you, when we hung up, I was in the Atlanta airport on a layover, and we had, a 20, 30-minute conversation that I'll tell you, I called our team afterwards and said that was one of the most substantive, serious conversations I've had in terms of discussions of the issues. So let me compliment the degree of depth that we got into on constitutional issues. In terms of additional areas, the biggest one I would focus on is the need to empower the people to hold elected officials accountable. I don't think we will be able to turn this country around if the answer comes from Washington. I think what's got to happen is it's got to be the grassroots holding all of us accountable. So I'll tell you what I said when I was campaigning for Senate across Texas. Over and over again, I told men and women, hold me accountable, hold every elected official accountable, demand that we do what we said we would do. I think that is the most potent avenue for change, is changing the dynamics so that we, the people, are empowered.
Every single person, do we have a winner? Every person who holds elective office swears an oath to the Constitution.
Yes.
And there was a movement here in New Hampshire a little while ago called Honor Your Oath, because we see a lot of politicians not. It's sort of a prerequisite to taking their seats, and then it's forever gone.
Right.
We saw a small effort in the Congress to say you have to justify your bill by what it said in the Constitution. It didn't go anywhere. Has there ever been a motion in Congress to say these words mean something instead of just being gobbledygook? Is there any way that you could say you need to honor your oath, and if you don't, there would be a penalty outside of what the voters would do? And as we see now, it's if any Democrat can do anything, Republican can do anything, instead of what we were talking about yesterday, it's the Constitution and your honor that's at risk.
Well, listen, I think that each of us is honor-bound to honor our oath. At the end of the day, I think the most significant check on it is the people holding us accountable. But the question you're asking needs to be asked by citizens, by the media. And I'll give an example. When I was newly elected to the Senate a couple of years ago, one of the very first things that happened is I had a fairly notable exchange with California Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein, where she was proposing her so-called assault weapons ban that I believed infringed upon the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And at the Judiciary Committee, I asked Senator Feinstein how she would justify this legislation, particularly given that the Second Amendment uses very, very similar language, the same operative language, the right of the people that's found in the First Amendment, our free speech rights and our rights to assemble, and also the Fourth Amendment, our privacy rights. Now, her response, she got very angry that I asked that question. And at one point in that back and forth, she said, "You don't understand. It's our job to pass legislation, then the courts figure out whether they're constitutional or not." And you may recall my response to that. I said, Senator Feinstein, I understand very well, and that's been the problem for far too long. Congress has been passing legislation without asking, is this consistent with the Constitution? And every one of us takes an oath to follow the Constitution, and we're independently responsible for doing that. I think that there's not a rule you can pass in Congress to suddenly cause people to honor their oaths. The only check that is meaningful is if there's accountability back home, and the role you play and bloggers play and the media play of holding people accountable helps enable and empower the people to do just that.
If only the media would actually do exactly that and not just looking at the single letters after somebody's name. I know you've got to run. It's snowing hard up in Grafton County where you're heading next, so you need to skedaddle. And I want to say thank you very much for spending a few minutes with Granite Grind.
Well, thank you and God bless you.
All right. Take care, sir.
GrokTV.